Macmillan Audio presents Assassin's Mark. Written by Ward Larsen. Read for you by P.J. Ochlan. One. The iconic blue and white whale that was Air Force One coasted smoothly down the glide path toward Joint Base Andrews. The skies over Maryland had cleared from an earlier overcast, and the sun was poised on the western horizon, a fitting ending to a grueling day that had begun here 12 hours earlier. President Elaine Cleveland stared vacantly out the oval window beside her. The great chrome-lipped engines reflected the last glimmers of daylight. The terrain below gained definition, small farms giving way to pocket neighborhoods as the city came nearer. In the gathering darkness, traffic on the distant beltway necklaced the Capitol in red and white light. At some point there has to be a sacrifice, and we all know who's got the target on his back. Cleveland blinked. Her eyes came back inside. Reluctantly, she tried to process what her chief of staff, Ed Markowitz, had just said. He was sitting across from her in a plush aft-facing chair. After the long day, he looked no different than he had at the outset, his usual wonkish self. Rumpled tweed jacket, bifocals, unkempt hair, and of course the ever-present secure tablet computer. She wondered if Ed, even as a child, had ever gazed out a window and let his thoughts wander. They'd departed Andrews at daybreak that morning, destined for a long-deferred tour of a new Kansas semiconductor plant. Bringing tech production back to America was one of the few areas on which the parties could agree. After that had been lunch with the governor of Iowa to promote a robotics research initiative. Altogether, it was a pathetic and all too obvious attempt at normalcy after weeks of relentless crises. At every stop, the reporters had been ruthless, shouting questions that had nothing to do with silicon wafers or AI. Try as she might to lead the country forward, the recent series of attacks against American interests had become a political black hole, an inexorable force that dragged her away from anything productive. The chain of disasters had begun 6 weeks ago, and was now referred to by the media as March Madness. First, an Air Force reconnaissance plane had crashed in the Arctic, the wreckage landing on Russian territory. Almost simultaneously, a Navy-guided missile destroyer had sunk in the Black Sea. Both tragedies occurred under suspicious circumstances, and both involved loss of life. Rumors swirled that Russia was responsible. As Commander-in-Chief, however, Cleveland could not retaliate based on rumors. She needed hard facts, and while intelligence reports left no doubt that the acts were intentional, attribution for them had proved harder to nail down. Worse yet, making public what they did know would be the world's worst poker move. Which meant her only play was to duck the questions and promise a full and thorough investigation by the nation's already embarrassed intelligence agencies. More attacks followed, putting America on the precipice of World War III. Yet Cleveland found herself mired in political quicksand, and with a window for action that was closing fast. She had so far managed to keep America out of a shooting war with Russia, but her poll numbers were dropping like a free-falling anvil. "Thomas is a good man," she replied, referring to CIA Director Thomas Coltrane. "He's done nothing to shake my faith." "I would never argue otherwise, but we were caught flat-footed. Our intelligence agencies are still drawing blanks. The perception is that they're failing us in our time of need. America was attacked and we can't even figure out who was behind it." "It's not for lack of trying. People at the CIA have risked their lives to get to the bottom of this. One man in particular." "True, but unfortunately that's not something we can share." "The operator you're referring..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?